stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio leadership and communication strategist Dotun, Ojon, and political technocrat Dr. Dayo. Kayode, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Morning.
Well rested, gentlemen.
Many very well. I wonder why this Dayo's story was not in the news over the weekend, other than because I'd expected that
we had
lady
it on TVC.
We expected that lady to have his faces to have been appearing on our national on our national currency, or probably giving this Ikorodu road a name. Ikorodu road to something like Alaka.
Something is in the works.
In the last 5 years, it's too much. It's too long.
You see how long it takes before we see immortalizing of certain persons. When was MKO Abiola immortalized?
This one is a special case. Without her, who knows where Lagos will have been or Nigeria will have been by now?
We agree, but definitely I'm certain government is listening.
Let us have her on our national currency, or this Ikorodu road to Alaka. Let it be renamed after her.
Definitely, the government is listening, and I'm certain they'll take a cue from your recommendation.
Thank you.
All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Daily Trust. Why insecurity persists in Nigeria by experts, rivalry, corruption, oiling crisis. 2.022 trillion naira budgeted for defense in 5 years. We'll be looking at that story shortly. And to the front page of the blueprint, Nigeria exported solid minerals worth 77.23 billion naira in 2017-80. Gas, future oil of the nation. To the front page of the Daily Times, kudos, knocks as closure of borders stays indefinite. Closure of borders beneficial to Nigeria's economy. Adegboye, Anyoko, others. Shutting of borders may affect Lagos Trade Fair, LCCI. And to Business AM, CBN ban of locals from open market operations, wrong-headed, distorts markets, serious concerns over preference for foreign investors. CBN still fixated with FX accreditation, while policy worrying, say fixed income traders. And finally, on the front page of News Direct, ease of doing business, World Bank report captures only 15% of Nigeria's MSMEs, LCCI. As Lagos Chamber of Commerce there speaking. Businesses still grappling with epileptic power supply, bad roads, others. All right, gentlemen, let's go back to the front page of the Daily Trust, talking about insecurity and why it persists. And here, experts are saying rivalry, corruption, oil in the crisis, because some have said initially that it's about the issue of funding, but beyond funding, issues of corruption still fester in this fight against the insecurity in the country. I wonder how this comes to you, Dr. Dayo.
Yeah, let me start with this sarcastic story about Chief Adelakun in the then Oyo State. The interview, I went to Chief Adelakun and asked him, why do we always have incessant student unrest in University of Ibadan? And the man now answered, why will we not have student unrest when in the morning students will be reading, in the afternoon they will be reading, in the night they will be reading, then there will be unrest. So why are you now?
So because they are reading for too long?
Yeah, that they read all the time, so there is unrest. So there is no way they will rest. So there is no way this insecurity will end when we have series of corruption cases.
People benefiting from the war?
People benefiting from it without the government taking them into books. We have had series of incidences here, whereby this one we cut away this. I mean, we saw one army general with how much then that they saw with one guy that now left with the money.
Millions of naira.
Was it 40 million or thereabout? Yes. Do you understand? So the moment we keep on seeing that, there is no amount of money that is being invested.
He's answering questions, though.
Do you understand?
Court martial.
Yeah, because that one was in the open. How about those that were not in the open? The issue of Bade. Why was Bade not brought to books while he was there? Were some people not seeing it? Is it only Bade that was involved in it? There are a whole lot of them that are involved in all these things. But it's a pity. Some people are just closing eyes to what some other people are doing. But then picking up some other
consequences. These issues
do you understand? So look at the issue of the IDP issue. The 500 billion or whatever.
Being spent.
Being used to go and cut grass. Is it not part of it? What has happened to that guy? Only relieving him of his post? Has he returned the money? Has he been penalized?
Do you share the same view? Is that why this situation has continued to fester?
We are in a country now, as we speak, where greed has become our god and money our master. Everybody is looking for a way to cut corner and get rich, either at the expense of
people's
everyone
lives.
and everyone's life. And it's quite unfortunate that government has not been able over time to muster the boldness to actually tackle the issue of corruption. To tackle the issue of corruption.
But that was one of the cardinal issues this government talked about
you need a lot,
dealing with.
Yeah, you need a lot of boldness because you are going to step on toes of people that are very close to you, people that will be in your political party.
So are you saying the body language of the president has not shown that he is ready to deal with this issue head on?
The president will not come on national television and tell Nigerians that he's not aware that there's corruption within the security apparatus. What we have had over time in Nigeria, and I don't know, I've not been able to open my eyes into this government, but what we've had over time in Nigeria is that there are two ministries where, two sectors of the economy or the nation where government officials actually used to perpetrate their corrupt practices. And the first one is security, because they tell you that once they budget an allocation to security, you can't question it because it's actually security. And they keep covering up. And I think what we have now is not actually far from that truth or that practice. So it's quite unfortunate. It's the same thing. You see, when you don't know the implication of some of these things, you may not be alarmed. The same reason why money gets missing in Abuja, in the hand of security chief, is the same reason why an average policeman on the road blocks you and collects money. Because he knows at the end of the day that the budgetary allocation for security is not going to affect his life. So he's looking for a way to actually cut corner and also get something out of the system.
Really?
So, and at the end of the day, Nigerians will keep bearing the brunt because either we like it or not, we will all be the victims.
But so far, for the past 5 years, according to reports, over 2 trillion naira has been budgeted when it comes to defense. But one would expect that one way or the other would have seen results here and there. But the situation still lingers, like some have said. So this is beyond funding.
Yeah, and even when you look at the money, what have they even used the money to do?
Buying equipment.
Where are the equipments? Because they kept on telling us that, look, the machines that those Boko Haram, the Fulani S-men and all that are using are more sophisticated than theirs.
Well, the government just had signed a deal with Russia now, so we are hoping to see something different.
But then listen to this. Don't let us go to Russia, because I have another issue about Russia.
Oh, really?
The thing is this. If he has just signed security whatever with Russia, that money, was it part of the scene that is there now? This money has been spent. So the Russia thing has nothing to do with the money that has been spent. On what basis have they? I mean, what can they use? What can they show us to justify that spending? Other than some individual pockets.
You see a quick one. You see the amount of money, 2.something trillion, cannot be too much for security in actual fact. But the first machinery you can buy to actually solve the problem of insecurity is manpower. What do I mean? If you budget 2.2 trillion, if you like, go and buy all the gunship and warship that you have. If an average man that is operating it is not well taken care of, then you are still going to have an issue. The welfare of the military, the welfare of the policeman, the welfare of these people. You don't want to know how much these guys earn. You don't want to know how they feed and survive on a daily basis. Government may paint the picture that all is well. I'm not saying all is not well when it comes to buying arms and ammunition, but I'm telling you that all is not well when it comes to taking care of the people.
There is a retreat going to begin today, talking about repositioning the police.
Exactly.
So where do we begin?
But the question is this. You see, when they are talking about all these retreats here and there, what do we normally have out of that retreat? Look at the retreat that the president had with the ministers the other time. And one of them now came out, this ministry you are taking me to, I don't know what they do there. So what happened at that retreat? Was it not well taken care of at that retreat?
Look at the stories in the Daily Times newspaper. The headline says here, why insecurity persists in Nigeria. That's according to experts. Rivalry, corruption, oil in crisis. 2.022 trillion naira budget set for defense in 5 years. That's in a Daily Trust newspaper this morning. The blueprint says Nigeria exported solid minerals worth 77.23 billion naira in 2017. That's according to NATI. And the writer says gas, future oil of the nation. We move to the Daily Times newspaper. Knocks kudos as closure of borders stay indefinite. Closure of borders beneficial to Nigeria's economy. Deboye Anyoko others. Shutting of borders may affect Lagos trade fair. That's according to the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In Business AM, CBN ban of locals from open market operators wrong-headed distorts market. That's according to Business AM, and says serious concerns over preference of foreign investors. CBN still fixated with foreign forex accreditation. Policy worrying, says fixed income traders. That's according to Business AM this morning. News Direct is saying here, ease of doing business. World Bank's reports captures only 15% of Nigeria's MSMEs. That's according to the LCCI. Businesses still grappling with epileptic power supply, bad roads, others. Looking at the Nation newspaper, it says power project probe of 168 billion naira cash the firm begins. AMCON raises dust over payment of subsidy to subsidiary of company in receivership. That's in the Nation newspaper. Now looking at the Vanguard, it says Supreme Court to hear Buhari Atiku's case. Hearing notices issued to all parties in the matter. APC files counter appeal, seeks revalidation of tribunal judgment. That's in the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And so we will look at the story in the Daily Times newspaper. It says knocks kudos as closure of borders stay indefinite. The writer says closure of borders beneficial to Nigeria's economy. That's according to Deboye Anyoko others. And shutting of borders may affect Lagos trade fair. That's according to the LCCI. That's in the Daily Times this morning. So, gentlemen, let's talk about the border closure this morning. It's something that has always made headlines since it started some time ago this year. What do you think now? How do you think this is affecting businesses? Yeah.
You see, from the inception, I have been looking at this border closure as, though custom is saying they are getting more revenue.
They're making revenue, yeah.
Yeah. But then, it goes beyond that. It's just a pity that here in Nigeria, we solve one problem to create another problem. Looking at it extensively, holistically now, of recent, about 2-3 months ago, Nigeria signed a pact, African finance, whatever.
Yeah.
Under that, is there room for border closure to member countries, to member nations? ECOWAS, AU, and all that. If we go away from that a little bit, what is it that Benin Republic is doing rightly with its port that is making Nigerians to be going there since time immemorial, to go and be buying their cars there, to go and be bringing in rice from there? Benin Republic, what's their population? According to statistics, is about the third largest importer of rice in Africa or wherever. Why not Nigeria? So why is it that they are importing to that place and bringing it to Nigeria? I think all we need to have done before now, is to have studied their own borders. What is it that it is right that is making people to bring in goods there and then from there bring it to Nigeria? Do you understand? So that we too can now adopt it in with our own border system. And then with that, all these things wouldn't have been happening.
But the government is saying it wants to use this border closure to stop illegal migration into Nigeria. And of course,
which illegal migration? No.
Issues of insecurity as well.
No, where people are coming in more, even from the Sahel to Nigeria, than from that place. The issue is this. Why is it that, okay, you say you don't want rice to be coming in from that place? Grow our own rice properly and let it flood the market and let it be cheaper.
Okay, let me hear what Ojon has to say, Dotun.
The reality is, because I thought it was actually deliberate, starting from where Doctor stopped. I thought it was a deliberate attempt by our government in Nigeria to create revenue for the government of Benin Republic, because I wouldn't know why people will go clear their road. That I thought it was deliberate that the government had actually created bottlenecks in our port here, so that. But now that we have a clear understanding of what it is, and what it is incompetence on the part of people, several people that is involved in the entire process. But again, we will always get to this bitter point of having to close our border, either we like it or not.
Okay.
It's something that must happen. And if this does not happen, we may not actually develop homegrown capacity to feed ourselves as a nation.
Despite the border closure, have we still developed that capacity?
We are. I totally believe that we are. At least if nothing will force you to eat local rice, the price will force many people.
What's the price of local rice as against foreign rice?
Foreign rice is 28,000. See, you come. I was in the market day before yesterday. So I'm not talking theory here. Foreign rice 28, local rice 22. But it's going to get to a point. It's going to get to a point if we continue to patronize local rice. Because I've heard some people say they cannot eat local rice. But now the price is forcing them to buy local rice. When we begin to buy local rice, people like us who are interested in agriculture, we go back to farm. We talk about population of Lagos today. We talk about over 20 million people in Lagos, and you continue to ask yourself, some people in Lagos today will leave their house as if they will not tire. They don't have anywhere they are going. And we have them in Lagos. Why can't they go back to the village? They know that they came from the village, they went to agriculture, but nobody patronized them. But we get to a point now where people will be forced to eat what they grow. And I've been forced to do so because I'm not extremely rich. I've been forced to patronize local rice now. So the next thing in my head is how to go back to my village and plant local rice. We are only using rice as an example. We cannot build a nation the way we are.
But
we are not ready.
The necessary infrastructure is in place.
Dotun is making is a little bit. Dotun is leaving a little bit of gap there now. Somebody like me, I prefer to eat local rice. I always like to eat local rice. Okay. But between you and me, I find it difficult getting it in the market. But that is the issue.
Yes,
I see till today. I still find it difficult getting it from the market.
The same thing. You find it difficult to get it in the market because those people who are supposed to plant this rice has been discouraged by the fact that all of us that are pretending, we think we have money, and we are poor people.
So instead of closing the border for now, don't let it make it total. Let us first of all improve on our supply. Look at this 28,000 naira. It's because of the border closure. Look at the increase. Look at the percentage increase. If it has not been like that, I mean, we wouldn't be seeing this.
If we have,
and that one has also increased the prices of local rice.
It is not as if I'm supporting government. It's not as if I'm supporting government.
Chicken.
But what I'm saying is that
chicken.
Either we like it or not, either we will get to this point. Now, government will now offend me. If after getting to this point we are now, maybe after 2 months, we are not unable to get the desired result. But that we will not get to this point, we will get to this point. Majority of the rice that are being imported to Nigeria are not only bad, they are not good for your health.
Exactly, it's true.
But they force us to eat all these things because they're not available.
But then let us develop
this
our
one
capacity.
They are doing, this closure of border, sir, let it continue so that our brain, we have automatic reset and we will know how to patronize ourselves within Nigeria so that we will grow.
But you know that at a point the border will be reopened.
I don't know how long, but let's just leave it like this.
So if we reopen, we're back to square one on this matter.
We will not be back. I believe we will not be back to square one. If we are, we will have to come back and talk about it. But the reality of what we have on ground now is that border, let it remain closed so that we can think, we can have a rethink.
You know, what's the relationship this will have? What's the effect this will have with other African nations? Because Ghana already is saying they are going to close down, stop our goods from coming in.
Problem in Nigeria. We are exporting. Do you know we are exporting electricity to other countries?
Sure.
What have we got from them?
Now the issue is this. My own bane of contention is this. The moment you close the border without developing your own area, it will create some problems. We know that our borders are porous. So those ones coming from the border being smuggled in, the prices will increase. The one you are not even able to provide there, the prices will also increase. So where do we go from there?
All right, we head straight to the papers, and I begin with the Daily Trust. Why insecurity persists in Nigeria by experts. Rivalry, corruption, oil and crisis. 2.022 trillion naira budgeted for defense in 5 years. And we have an infographic breakdown of details of the security formation across the country. And we'll move to the front page of the blueprint now. Nigeria exported solid minerals worth 77.23 billion naira in 2017-80. Gas, future oil of the nation. To the Daily Times, kudos knocks as closure of borders stays indefinite. Closure of borders beneficial to Nigeria's economy. Adeboye and Yoko others. Shutting of borders may affect Lagos trade fair, LCCI. And to the Business AM, CBN ban of locals from open market operation, wrong-headed, distorts market. Serious concerns over preference for foreign investors. CBN still fixated with FX accreditation. Policy worrying, says fixed income traders. On the front page of News Direct now, ease of doing business. The World Bank's report captures only 15% of Nigeria's MSMEs. That's the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry speaking there. Businesses still grappling with epileptic power supply, bad roads, others. We'll be looking at that story shortly. To the Nation newspaper, power project probe of 1.68 billion naira cash to a firm begins. AMCON raises dust over payment of subsidiary of companies in receivership. And finally, on the front page of the Vanguard, presidential tussle. Supreme Court to hear Buhari Atiku's case Wednesday. Hearing notices issued to all parties. In the matter, APC files counter-appeal, seeks revalidation of tribunal judgment. Well, gentlemen, let's look at the story on the front page of Nigeria's News Direct. The World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index recently rated us, moved us up 15 points. Our former ranking, and the question on the lips of many is, how did we get there? When you look at the indices for which this is being measured, do you look at the ease of doing business across borders, and we know our borders are closed. You talk about starting a business, and before we came on air, Dr. Kayode, you were talking about the issue of
you see,
how to register a business in Nigeria, the challenges, the bottlenecks.
Viewers will be able to know what goes on behind the scene, you know, before coming on here, because when we were talking about it, I first of all said, hey, CAC is #1. That's a Corporate Affairs Commission. Yeah. Because now, talking seriously, when you're looking at the indices that makes doing businesses easy in our country or in any country, there are some indices you need to look at. Let's even forget about border closure or no border
that's
closure.
one of it.
Let us look at the internal. Let us even look at the internal without extending it to external. That external, is another ball game entirely. The CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission, how you register. Who are those people in that CAC? Because here you have, I'm talking from experience now. Here you'd be dealing with some people that one does not even know their onions. Talking seriously, yes. Really? I have my experience with them. But, you know, these are not things...
What was the experience? Quickly, because these allegations, some might want to challenge it.
It's not an allegation. It's something that happens. when they ask you, number one, that you can even do your registration online and all that, but between you and me, it is difficult because you will not even get through. Ordinary to search for names is a big deal. At a point, it will get to a point whereby you have done all you're supposed to do. For you to now get certified, they will say, no, this name is no more there. Why did they allow that name in the first instance? You see, these are frustrating, okay? Let's leave CAC alone. Is one of the systemic parasiters in Nigeria that we've always been talking about that are bedeviled by a lot of issues. How about electricity supply? How constant is it? Despite all the money being spent on it. How about roads? You have a business in Nigeria, you need to go and have a meeting with somebody. And before you could get there, you see that probably the potholes or wherever has caused an accident on the road. Maybe a tanker, one tanker or the other has fallen down like it normally happens at Odedola. And then a journey of 30 minutes is now leading to 4 hours. How about the financial institutions? Banks. Whereby when you want to get facility for your business, they will ask you to go and bring the death certificate of your great-great-grandfather. All right? whereby when you withdraw a little bit of money, a lot of charges will go on it. Whereby you see fake debit alerts, as it happened to me. Do you understand?
They haven't paid your money.
They are in the process. They are in the process of paying now. Yeah. You see, all these indices, or you want to talk about policy somersault.
So many issues.
Policy somersault. Or you want to talk about the forex. You see, all these indices put together.
So the question is, how did we move up?
Okay, now, it's going to be hypocritical for us to believe that we were 15 miles behind before when the other report came out, and we say we are not going to believe this. It's going to be hypocritical. What happened is that when they talk about moving up, it's not usually a product of improvement. When they measure you with other people, it could be that if you are first in your class, and I am second, and you suddenly become first in the class, it doesn't mean that you have done better. It could also mean that I didn't do well.
Really?
That is the logic behind it. It could also mean that I didn't do well. So when you measure,
it might still be scoring that 75%.
When you
but
measure,
scoring 80% before it's now scoring 60%.
When you measure countries together like that and say Nigeria has actually moved up, it could probably be as a result of the fact that
15 places and we did not do anything well.
It is possible that the other people actually lag behind.
Even you two might not.
You know, when they lag behind, there's possibility for you. It's like soccer game. If other country lag behind, there's no possibility that you move up. Because the reality of what we have now, I believe that report. I believe that we actually moved up 15 places. But it may not be a product of what we have done. What we have done. It could be a product of what the other countries did not do. That could also help us to move forward. Now, from now, we must begin to look at the first step that has been taken, which may actually, a lot of people have criticized it, is the border closure. I know that by the time we continue to take some of these right steps, and we make right investment into things that are needed within the country.
But one of the indices, like I said, is the ease of doing business across borders, and we hear that people are groaning. People living that are carrying out legitimate business across the borderlines.
Let me open your eyes to something.
I'm coming. Let me quickly make this point. Majority of us here don't have the opportunity to visit borders.
Okay, correspondent just visited.
I often go to the border with Benin Republic. And one thing I discovered is that if you stay there, you discover that in all sincerity, there are a lot of things we are not getting well. And because we are not getting them well, a number of people doing illegitimate business have actually overshadowed the ones that are doing legal business. So when you look, it's very easy for people to be crying that, oh, we didn't get this thing very well. But ask them in reality, those people that are peddling those information, those people that are carrying that information, ask them very critically whether they are doing right business. Nigeria, as we speak now, we are not where we are supposed to be. We can cite Lagos as an example. My friend left Akure 9 a.m. and got to Ikorodu 7 p.m. That's not an environment where you think we can do business. In our bank today, for some of us that are fortunate to get facilities, we get facilities, and to pay back, they bring backdoor charges. Things that you were not told when you are getting the facility. And you need to call your village to gather money for you to pay back. We know all these things. But if we can be consistent on the part of local production, that's where I'm going. Some of these things will be solved first. And if we continue to see to the development of infrastructure the way it should be, with the right amount of money, then I am hopeful.
We've been pumping monies into various aspects. Power, for instance. We've spent over 5 trillion naira on power
without
since 1999.
Anything. Yeah, but to let me quickly open your eyes to something like I said the other time, because you strongly believe in this border closure. Look at Singapore. When Singapore started, it closed all its borders too. But, one, it invested a lot of money in infrastructure, and then local content development. I'm not saying we should not close our borders. Do you understand? But
what have we put in place?
Let us put something in place. Let us develop our infrastructure. Don't let us be developing infrastructure on paper. Then let us also improve on our local content. It is only when we do all these things that our businesses can grow. Look at the facilities you were talking about. You will get facility from somebody from one particular bank, and they will bring in backdoor charges because they know that you wouldn't want to go to the court because the processes there is expensive and will be elongated. You wouldn't have the time.
But the president is looking at us moving 70 places, perhaps moving up to the point 70 rankings. Are we on the right track? Are we moving close?
We are not on the right track.
Right.
I don't want us to put our destiny on the performance of other people. If we are going to move forward, let it be a product of what we do by ourselves.
Yes.
It's not that we will be using the failure of other people to measure ourselves. But quickly, sir, we cannot compare Singapore or some of these countries we continue to talk about with Nigeria.
Why
Our
not?
complexity is great.
But we can
compare Singapore with one state.
It's a model.
It's a model that a lot of people have tried.
We can adapt it.
We need to create our own model because the way we reason is different from the way an average human being on the planet Earth reasons. Our own is a little bit different.
That is what we now call application.
So all this Singapore you are talking about, they are just one state.
We
one
can borrow the model and
adapt it. The one that you talk about is a state.
No, but we can borrow
ideas. I'm not saying we can borrow idea, but we should localize it with the reality of
on the ground
thinking pattern of an average Nigerian person.
All right, Dr. Ojon, Dr. Dayo, Kayode, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the newspaper review this morning. You're watching TVC Breakfast, and we're streaming live on YouTube. You can connect with us on Twitter using the hashtag TVC Breakfast.